It's been about 2 years since I've uploaded the first video to this YouTube channel. Before this channel though, I had a gaming YouTube channel like many kids do, and between this channel and that channel, I've uploaded about hundreds of videos. As you can imagine, after uploading over 500 videos, I've learned a lot of things along the way. Therefore, I wanted to make a video talking about the biggest lessons that I've learned. Arguably, one of the biggest mistakes that I've made with this YouTube channel is trying to make the videos perfect. When you are starting out on YouTube, yes, you don't want your videos to be trash. But at the same time, you need to upload consistently. By uploading more frequently, you're telling the YouTube algorithm that you're engaged in the platform, therefore theoretically you should get more views. Also, it's important to note that the fastest way to get better at the start of your YouTube journey is to constantly upload videos and to be consistent. Because by uploading more frequently, you're going to make more mistakes, and then you're going to learn from those mistakes, and it's learning from those mistakes that makes you better. This principle of doing more volume and making more mistakes and learning from them is a principle for any part of life, not just YouTube. The second part of this point I'm trying to make comes into effect about 6 to 12 months after starting a YouTube channel. Within the first about 12 months of you doing your YouTube channel, assuming you're consistent, you should see a huge improvement with your videos. You might become better at scripting the videos. You might find your feet when talking to the camera. You might upgrade your equipment. You might get better at photo and video editing, or in my case, you might get better at all of these within the space of a year. However, something that I've learned which is really important, and this is I only came to the conclusion in the last few months, is that as a one-man army, there's only so much you can do. I was putting way too much pressure on myself to make the videos better and better and better and better, to the point where it was becoming quite unrealistic. You know, standard YouTube tutorials weren't going to cut it. For example, the only way for me to improve my editing would be to spend hours taking motion graphics tutorials to get my animations better, and then once you've learned those skills, it still takes hours to actually make those motion graphics for the YouTube videos. And you know, as you get to around 12 months onwards, this is just my opinion. You might not have the exact same thing. You might reach this point at 6 months or 18 months. But for me, at around 12 months, I started to see really stark diminishing returns in regards to my videos getting better when trying to put effort into improving them. Suddenly, I got to a point where to make my videos 1% better, I would have to put hours and hours and hours into specific paid courses, whilst at the start of my YouTube channel, to make my videos 10% better, all I had to do was just look at a quick 2-minute YouTube tutorial about how to use a camera and learning about aperture and just, you know, more of the basic things about filming YouTube videos. And for people like myself with, you know, other things going on in their life, like for example, I'm doing a master's degree, which sinks up a lot of time. Maybe you have like a job and kids and stuff like that. But if you're in that situation, then you haven't got time to be spending hours learning motion graphics tutorials, for example. In other words, if your perfectionism, like in my case, was causing you to upload, you know, videos only every few months, which is what I was doing at one point, then unless you are, you know, the best person in the world at motion graphics and videography and storytelling, then you're not going to get very far. So my approach with YouTube now is to upload at least 2 videos every month, which we'll see how we go despite my master's degree, to upload 2 videos every month. And then if I want my videos to get better from then onwards, then I need to hire someone else, like an editor, to help out. And for me to hire an editor, I need more money. And for me to get more money, this YouTube channel needs to get better. So therefore, I need to upload more consistently. And while, as I've said before, my goal with YouTube isn't purely financial, hopefully you can see how we're coming full circle here. Yes, it's okay to take the occasional tutorial and course to kind of get started. This is what I did. But don't let your perfectionism get in the way. Try and stay consistent. Upload at least twice a month, if not more. And again, don't let your perfectionism be the thing that stops you from uploading. When starting this channel, I was quite fortunate to have some money saved up for a good microphone. When you're starting out, I think getting a good microphone is one of the easiest and best ways you can improve the quality of your videos. If you've got a bit of spare money, getting a good microphone, so spending £50 to £100 on a good microphone is really good, because ultimately people are willing to sit through shoddy video quality if the audio quality is really good, versus having a 4K video but the audio sounds like the microphone shoved up your bum. Which in a way is quite fortunate, because microphones are way more cheaper than cameras. One of the most debated topics in YouTube is whether to have a niche. The majority of people say that you should have a niche and you should only release videos about that topic. I think choosing a niche can be useful. For example, some of my best performing videos are arguably within a certain niche of MSK physiotherapy, but I can also see benefits from uploading whatever you want. I think the answer to this comes down to what do you want to get out of YouTube or uploading content to any platform. If you want to upload videos to YouTube to be creative or to just maximize enjoyment, then I would say upload content on whatever you feel passionate about. That could be a niche, but it doesn't have to be. However, if you want to make money on YouTube as fast as possible, which still isn't fast, it's still a long-term thing, but if you want to make, if your goal with YouTube is purely financial, then it's best to make actually a YouTube covering financial information, because when finance channels get money from AdSense, from adverts on their YouTube channels, they get way more money than YouTube channels covering any other topic. For me personally, I do have a niche, which is MSK physiotherapy, but I've also released videos on psychology, mental health, philosophy, productivity, loads of other topics. And the reason for this is because, yes, while I do want to make money on YouTube, I also want to enjoy it at the same time. And I also feel like YouTube over time is going to, it's already starting, I think, but it's going to place more and more emphasis on authenticity. So for me, I could just release videos on MSK physiotherapy, but I don't think that's being authentic to me, because there's so many other topics that I'm interested about. I'm not just a one-trick pony. In regards to branding though, as a YouTube channel, unless you are a faceless YouTube channel, and even then you can kind of argue this can still be the case, but unless you are a faceless YouTube channel, one of the things that revolutionized how I think about my channel is, as a YouTuber, you are the brand. Your goals, your values, your interests, your hobbies, your personality, that is the brand. And I believe that being as open about all these different things is more authentic and it's more genuine, and it means that your audience are more likely to like and trust you because they might even relate to you. It also means that you're more likely to attract people to your community who are more like you, who are interested in psychology or physiotherapy or productivity or whatever topics you're interested in. Also, one of the benefits of making videos on separate topics is that, like a Venn diagram, they can kind of overlap. And what you can do is, when this happens, is you can talk about information that applies to more than just one specific topic. For example, if you enjoy cooking and software engineering / coding, you could make a video about how you set up an app for people who want to get better at cooking. And there's likely a chance that the amount of competitors you will have within this space will be very small, and you might have no competitors on YouTube. You could apply this to loads of different topics, but in this case, using knowledge that synthesizes or joins together more than one topic is called specific knowledge, according to Naval Ravikant. Ultimately, specific knowledge is really valuable because it makes you more irreplaceable, and you're more irreplaceable because the knowledge that you've joined together between two different topics, that is much harder to teach people because that's based on your experience. That's based on the connections you've made in your own mind. Which brings me to my final point with this section, because if you are the brand, that means you are irreplaceable. No one is better at being Peter McAdam than me. YouTube is only going to get more and more competitive. The bar for quality is only going to get higher and higher. So the more you can distinguish yourself from other YouTubers, the better. So if people watch your videos for you, then yes, you could argue it might take longer to grow a community and to grow your channel, but you can almost guarantee your audience are more likely to engage and support and promote your content. Having unrealistic expectations is one of the biggest pitfalls that people fall into on YouTube. some 10 or 11-year-old will see Logan Paul or Ali A have millions of subscribers and they'll think, oh yeah, I'll just do that in a few months. But unless you are the god of YouTube, this is not going to happen. If a channel has got past 1 million subscribers post 2020, then the likelihood that they have personal writers, editors, script writers, and other staff to help them is very high. Otherwise, they are extremely talented and they are not the average person. Because unless you're doing it full time, which most people can't afford to do, then 99% of people can't grow an audience to that level within only a year or two. If someone has done this by themselves, they are clearly talented and they have been putting in a disgusting amount of effort. For example, I have been uploading videos on this channel for over 2 years now, about 2 years, and I've uploaded over 50 to 60 videos, and I'm still on about 250 subscribers. If that doesn't put into perspective what I'm talking about, then I don't know what will. If you're going to be on YouTube, then you need to be willing to play the long game. You need to be willing to spend hours making a video just for it to get 1 like and 17 views, to try and edit a video on Premiere Pro and for it to crash for the millionth time. However, I do all of these things despite those shortcomings because I know in the long term it's going to be worth it. I have somewhat already addressed this point when I was talking about diminishing returns, but some people will never even start their YouTube channel because they're just watching tutorials. Here's the thing, if you're watching tutorials, for example, how to edit with Premiere Pro, the likelihood that all of the content in that video is going to be useful for your channel is probably quite slim. And even if it is all useful, unless you've got a photographic memory, the chances you are going to remember the majority of that content, again, is quite slim. The best way to learn something is by applying the scientific method to your life. Forming a hypothesis about what to do and why, doing it, making mistakes, learning from it, and then repeating that process again and again. Yes, there is some value to looking at tutorials right at the start just to get a rough idea of what you're meant to do, but once you've got past that point, focus on making videos, and then when you're making videos, you will stumble into things which will stop you, or things you don't really know how to do, and then use Google and ChatGPT to try and find answers to those questions, and then you'll get specific knowledge and information that isn't generic to some tutorial, but it's specific knowledge that's really useful for you moving forward. And before you know it, 50 videos plus later, you've learned about scripting, talking to the camera, search engine optimization, video editing, photo editing, videography, and much more. Whereby you wouldn't have learned those things by just watching tutorials, but instead by having experiences to attach that information to, and having the knowledge that you've gained from solving the problems along the way. I get it. The idea of uploading videos to YouTube is scary. There is some logic to this, but I find people kind of catastrophize and exaggerate the threats of what it means to kind of upload videos to YouTube. They are worried that their friends will take the mick out of them or their family will disown them, but this is all in your head. Your mates will either support you or they won't really care much about you doing a channel. They'll carry on, they're too busy thinking about themselves. And your family will just be like, oh, Jimmy's starting a little project on YouTube. But if your friends do bully you about it, then are they really your friends? And also, you're not going to get cancelled on YouTube because your first video is only going to get like 6 views, and 4 of those views is going to be like your sister, your uncle, and your mum. So yeah, don't worry about being cancelled. Unless you are talking about very sensitive stuff and mentioning very rogue ideas, then you should be fine. What I'm trying to say is that when people are thinking about starting YouTube, even if they know it's something they really want to do, they will make excuses for not doing it. They will say stuff like, oh, I will start once I get the right equipment. I will start once I'm an expert in this field. Or they'll say, in regards to imposter syndrome, they'll be like, oh, who am I to talk about this? You know, no one's going to listen to me. Here's the reality of the situation. If you've got a 50 to 100 pound microphone, or it might even be cheaper these days, and you've got a smartphone camera, you're set. You don't need any more to get started. One of my most viewed videos so far, which has almost like 10,000 views by now, it might even have more by the time you watch this video, I filmed it on this potato iPhone 11 camera, And because the content of that video is clearly valuable to people, they still watched it, even though the microphone was, the sound quality and everything was horrendous. By getting a fancy camera and a fancy microphone and getting a fancy light, it didn't really grow my channel that much. And part of the reason my channel didn't grow was because of the perfectionism stuff I was mentioning before. But the biggest reason I find that people don't want to start YouTube is because of the imposter syndrome. They feel like they're not qualified to give advice, or they feel like they're not good enough. My question back to you guys is, for all these big YouTubers, where do you think they started? Every single one felt the exact same emotions you do right now, assuming you're starting out, and they all started on 0 subscribers. And if you're worried about imposter syndrome and making mistakes, if you're just starting out, now is the best time to start, because you haven't got any subscribers, or barely any. So if you do make mistakes, only 2 people are probably on the other side of the world are going to watch those videos, and then they don't know you, so they're probably just going to click off the video. So now is the best time to upload videos again and again and again, and to make mistakes. Because if I just said to you, okay, now you've got 1 million subscribers now, you'd be terrified to upload a video. It's better to make those mistakes now when you've got a smaller audience. Also, unless you're giving medical advice when you're not qualified to do so, then you don't need to be qualified to upload videos on YouTube. Anyone can upload videos on YouTube. Ultimately, if you feel like you have ideas which can bring value to other people, assuming you want to do YouTube, and if you are letting imposter syndrome stop you from making videos, then you are potentially doing a disservice to all the people you could help. Stop making excuses, start creating, and start doing. Over time, society is going to reward people more and more for having an online presence and for sharing valuable ideas. And the question is, do you want to be one of those people? So as a really quick point, yes, I mentioned about the issues of being in tutorial hell, but there's nothing wrong with looking at 1 or 2 tutorials or having a short course just to get started. So my advice would be to look at YouTube courses from YouTubers that you know, like, and trust. If you don't know any YouTubers, or none is coming to mind at the minute, then I would advise looking at the YouTuber course from Matt Diavella and the YouTuber course from Ali Abdul. I personally did Ali Abdul's YouTube course called PTYA, which stands for Part-Time YouTuber Academy. And going through this course, even though it was a bit expensive, it was revolutionary. It maximized my progress in regards to the quality of my videos. So if you've got a bit of spare money, definitely consider getting one of these 2 courses. As I was saying before, YouTube seems to be pushing more support towards creators that are more authentic. You know, people who have a bit more personality to their videos. Fortunately, this is one of the things that I've done myself. You know, on some of my videos, I try and speak to the camera like I'm speaking to a friend who has asked me advice about something. Yes, I'll be a little bit more enthusiastic than I usually speak, but largely it's authentic to me as a person. I haven't been like, whoa guys, here's this YouTube channel, blah, blah, blah. You know, I've tried to talk about content that's specific to me and that I really enjoy. And if you can find the balance between doing this and having good delivery and good people skills when talking to the camera, or should I say better public speaking skills when talking to the camera, then I feel like this is going to be a lot more sustainable. When recording a video, there are so many different factors to consider when you're setting things up. You know, is the lighting right? Are the microphone settings right? Is the video right? Have I moved all the stuff away from my environment to make sure nothing's looking weird on the video? Have I got my script next to me? Is my microphone and my recorder charged? Have I looked in the mirror to make sure there's no crap on my face? There's so many things to check when you are recording and editing videos. So something that really helped me is for my pre and post production, but mainly pre-production, is having a checklist of things to follow. This is an example of what's called cognitive offloading, and it makes the recording process so much more enjoyable. For those of you trying to grow your YouTube channel, especially if you've got other things going on in your life, it can be difficult. Because growing your YouTube channel, it takes a long time. It takes a long time usually, and people can be a slave to how many likes and views a video gets. To be completely honest, I look at YouTube analytics quite a lot because I'm waiting for the day when eventually my channel starts to get some traction. But by doing this, I try and be very mindful of this because it can take the joy out of being on YouTube. Being on YouTube and making videos should be about creativity or sharing knowledge that can help people. It shouldn't feel like a chore. You know, there are times when I really put pressure on myself and my YouTube channel for the videos to be perfect, and I just burnt out. You know, I just felt very demotivated at certain points. You know, I felt like I only had a certain window of time to upload videos on YouTube before this kind of phase stops. But whether you're uploading 4 times a month or 10 times a month, it's still going to take time to grow your YouTube channel. But YouTube isn't going anywhere. The amount of users on the platform only increases every year. So as long as you're not spending your time procrastinating and you're making videos regularly, then you will be fine. You know, YouTube growth will take as long as it needs to take. Just focus on enjoying the journey. Sometimes when I'm frustrated about my channel's growth, what I like to think about is every person who subscribes to my channel, even if it's only a few hundred, every subscriber is a person with their own lives and that, you know, and everything going on for them. Every view on my video is people spending time to watch my videos when they could be doing other things, when they could be spending time with their children, their parents, their pets, their siblings. And while it's obviously not my responsibility to dictate when and where people watch my videos, they are using their most valuable resource to watch my videos, their time. And whether I'm on 10 subscribers or 1 million subscribers, I will always be grateful for this. One of the things that I've done since the start of my channel is I've tried to write a comment or react to every single comment that has been put on my videos. And I aim to do this for as long as I can because I appreciate all the support that has been given and will be given for my channel. If you've enjoyed this video, then you might also enjoy the video I did here where I talk about how I stick to good habits. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you there. Adios, amigos.